we have officially launched our new Top Bullies online store with a bunch of new products for your pit bull. New harnesses, new leashes, new tug toys, a bunch of cool stuff for your pit bull. Today I'm giving you a special code just for you. Use my15off to get 15% off your first purchase. It will be limited for the next 2 days. So go and act now. Go and check it out. There'll be a link in the description. So today we're doing another Ask Me Something video, and I'm gonna refer back to the last questions that I got on my last Ask Me Something video. So if you have any questions that you want to ask me personally, you could put a comment down below in the comment section, and that is the easiest way for me to answer your questions on these Ask Me Something videos. So let's just get right into it. So Darion Gardner asked the pros and cons of using a shock collar. So a shock collar is not something I would use. I would use an e-collar, but there's a lot of pros and cons. One pro that I could think of off the top of my head is good for recall training if you're wanting to do some distance recall training, because you know a long line can only go so far. E-collar is really good for that kind of thing when you want to use off-leash recall training. The cons could be if you don't know how to use the e-collar, you could really mess up your dog's way of thinking when it comes to the e-collar. You could just jack them up altogether, especially if you have bad timing with the e-collar. So I suggest you just do some research on it before you use it. Milton Gutierrez asks, what can I feed my pit bull puppy that is 9 weeks? I always advise a food like Origin puppy food, but I mean, there's a lot of things you can feed them. You can feed them a raw diet as well, and some of the other quality kibbles that are out there that I've shown you guys on this channel. Just make sure you have the puppy version. Ant asks, is Purina Beneful puppy food a good dog food for blue nose pit bull, or what do you prefer? I just answered that in the last question, so refer to that. Timothy Dunn asks, all of a sudden my pit has become very picky with her food. I've been feeding her Bully Max since she was 3 months, and she always devoured it. So you're asking, how can you make your dog not be so picky? You need to be strict with your schedule feeding. So let's say you're feeding twice throughout the day. If you put it out at 10 o'clock in the morning, then if they don't eat it, then you take it away like 5-10 minutes later. And you don't give them the next bowl or the next meal into the next feeding. You don't just keep trying to give the food to them whenever you think you can. And also, hand feeding is good. I would not use meal toppers or anything like that, because you're teaching your dog to be picky at that point. Timothy Dunn, same guy. How do I get my pit bull to stop digging? What you could do if they're digging in the same spot, I know a lot of people tried this. I never had that problem. But you could put their poop or you could put their poop inside that hole and bury it up, especially if they're digging in that same area. Then that would help them to stop digging in that area. Upsettings asks, what treats should I give my pit? It depends on what your goal is. If you're just trying to give your dog treats, use Visionary Pets treats as a good treat. But if you're just trying to train, honestly, you could just use some cheese or use some hot dogs. Jorge Gonzalez asks, how many months should I walk my dog? Honestly, as soon as your dog starts walking and they have all their shots, you can just start walking them right away. I'd say once a day if you're able to do it. Yeah, you can start young, man. Officer WS asks, I'm new to the channel and I love it. Thanks, welcome. And was thinking about getting a pit. What type should I get? I just made a video on which bully breed is best to own. Go check that out. That will help you out. Timothy Dunn again asks, what is a good weight vest to get and how old should I start using it? Do they come with weights? I have a video about the X-Dog weighted vest. You should go and check that out. I would advise to start at like 1 to 2 years old. Don't do it too young because you don't want to mess up their frame. You want to let them grow great. Cody Miller asks, I just got a 9-week-old blue nose. What's a good way to be very obedient but also protective of the kids without getting mean? Don't teach your dog to be mean, man, especially if you don't have professional training. You can follow some of my training videos that I have on the channel with obedience training. But naturally, I think they'll be protective if you're being a good owner and they're being a good companion towards you. The relationship is building. they'll naturally want to be protective towards you and the family. So just don't teach them to be mean. Danny T asks, my question is, I bought my own condo. My puppy interacts with other dogs, but there's a neighbor who thinks it's right to let all the dogs in his condo. Should I let him in the condo? I honestly would not, man. First of all, why is your dog in someone else's condo? You know what I mean? Don't do that. Maybe keep it on the leash, even though if there's a lot of loose dogs out there, that is a recipe for disaster. Keep your dog leashed and don't let him in anybody's houses, man. That's just wrong in my opinion. CC asks, I have a question, tips on how to choose the trainer. It depends on what you're trying to train, man, because if you could do obedience, or if you're looking for just obedience training, I would advise try it yourself first. See if you're able to communicate with your dog, teach him commands. But if you're trying to teach or train aggression out of a dog, I would go to professional, no cookie cutter trainer, no treats and, just teaching them to sit down, lay, whatever. Don't go to them. You need a professional that's been doing this for years and knows how to get aggression out or control it. Honey Money says, you got a lot of fans from India. What do you say? Thank you. I appreciate all the support, guys. Juvie asks, when can my American Bully start wearing a vest? I just answered this. I would say about 1.5 to 2 years old. You want them to build into their frame before you start adding heavy weights to their body. Adalia Farina asks, what to do with the puppy that eats everything off the floor? What I would do is correct them. Maybe that's a leash correction, like a pop, all right, with the flick of the wrist, pop when they're trying to eat something off the floor. It's bad. People could poison stuff that's on the floor. Just make sure you correct them right when they're about to eat it, and you have to supervise them. Verify Season asks, when I try to teach my pit to sit with treats, he jumps on me and tries to eat the treat. How can I teach him to sit and not jump for the treat? You need to be firm with your dog and give them a correction when they try to jump. And also, you need to have perfect timing. So when their butt hits the ground, you say yes, mark it, and give them a treat. And if they jump at you before you could do all that, then they don't get a treat. And that's when you correct them with the flick of the wrist, like I was talking about earlier on the earlier question. Sane Hunley asks, hi, I have a 4-year-old pit with high anxiety. Is there any way to manage this? He's afraid of everything. I'm assuming afraid of everything when he's out in public. So you really need to build confidence in your dog. And how you could do this is do simple obedience training and get them to focus on you and not everything else, and take baby steps. Don't introduce them into a wild setting right away. That's not gonna help them. Maybe start in the house, then start in the front yard, the backyard, take a walk down the street. It's just baby steps. You see where I'm going with that? Dominic Rodriguez asks, hey, I recently got a pit bull mix and was wondering if pedigree, puppy growth, and protection or hill science puppy food is better. What do you recommend? I just said that in the earlier questions. Origin dog food, I think they have a good protein source and not so much corn and filler like some of these other brands. Someone asks, how often do you bathe your dog? Honestly, I like to bathe my dog about every 2 weeks. He doesn't get too dirty. You can't be doing that stuff every week because you're going to make the coat dry and brittle and weak. So you don't want to do that. You want to be able to have them withstand some of the dirtiness if they get dirty. And if they stink, I get the once a week. But my dog doesn't ever stink, so I like to do it 2 times or 1 time every 2 weeks. Sometimes I do it more often, if he ends up getting in some dirt or something and he stinks, or if I rub him and you can feel dirt on him, or you know what I mean? So I like to do it once every 2 weeks. I just don't do it too much because, I feel like you can make the coat weak. All right, that's it for the questions, guys. Again, if you have any questions, leave a comment below with your question. This is the easiest way for me to check them out and answer them. Also, don't forget to visit our online store. There'll be a link in the description. Again, use code MY15OFF to get 15% off your first purchase. I can't wait for you to go and check out the new products. There's some good quality stuff in there. And I'm just happy that I'm able to launch this to you guys with new, fresh content on our blog. So go and check that out. And I will see you guys on the next video. I'm out.